Okay, so now we have installed the ARP program. So in this lecture, we are going to spoof both the victim machine and the router in believing that we are the other device. So we will move forward like this. So first we will try to spoof the victim machine with ARP spoofing and tricking him to think that we are the router. And then we will trick the router into thinking that we are the victim machine. So before we proceed further, so I have put out the ARP tables of this Kali machine as follows. So as you can see that currently it shows that the router is at 0.1 and it says that it ends with MAC address with something like DC, and it says that the victim machine ends at colon A7. So if you go to the Windows machine and see that now it has the same correct mapping of router to MAC addresses. So it says that router, which is 0.1, is at with DC, and the Kali machine ends with BD. So now we will try to first spoof the victim machine into thinking that we are router. So this field of Windows machine will be replaced with our MAC address, which ends with BD. So if I go to the Linux machine again and try to spoof it, so what I need to do is I need to write ARP spoof, and then I need to provide the interface, which would be ETH0 in our case. Then I need to provide the target. So there would be, since we are targeting the victim machine, so first we need to provide the IP address of the victim machine. So 192.168.0.30 space, and then the device that we are pretending to be. So since we are hacker machine and we are pretending that we are router, so that the victim machine send packets to us, so we will write the router's address here. So 192.168.0.1. So now we are tricking the victim machine into thinking that we are router, but we are actually not router. If we press enter, you will see that it will start spoofing the victim machine. And now the victim machine thinks that we are at BD MAC address. So if I go to the Windows machine, and now if I try to write ARP-A, you will see that now the victim machine has updated its ARP table. Now the router, which is 192.168.0.1, is the machine thinks that it is at this address, while previously it was at this address, which is the correct one. But now we have spoofed the victim machine into thinking that our router address is this one, which is actually the address of our hacker machine. So now we have achieved one side spoofing. So we are now tricking the Kali machine into thinking that we are the router, and now victim machine is sending packets to our machine. So now what we have to do is we have to do the same process on the router side. So now we will try to spoof the router into thinking that we are the victim machine. So I'm going to go over to the Kali Linux and I'm going to start a new terminal. Now I'm going to do the same process here, which is ARP spoof -i ETH0, and then I need to spoof the router now. So I will say 192.168.0.1, and then I will pretend to be the victim machine. So 192.168.0.30. So now I am pretending to be a victim machine. And what's the issue here? ARP spoof. Oh, okay, so I left the -t tag here. -t. If I press enter, now this is spoofing the the router machine. Now we have completely spoofed both the devices. Now the victim machine thinks that we are the router, and the router thinks that we are victim machine. So now all the traffic that will flow from victim machine to the router or internet will pass through our network or our machine. So in order to capture this, what we are going to do is we are going to use Wireshark. But before doing this, let's stop this lecture here and I will proceed in next lecture.